Breaking news, Manchester United just signed their first summer signing. His name is Christian Orozco. Who the hell is that? Well, if you don't know who that is, well, get in line, because I didn't know who that was either. But like every responsible YouTuber, I did some really deep research. Okay, let's be serious now, right? Jokes aside, I actually did do some research to look into him. Apparently, I'm going to be looking at my notes here because, like I said, I had no idea who this guy was before this transfer happened, right? Apparently, he's going to be starting in July, but he's a 17-year-old midfielder from the Colombian second division, and it currently is going to cost us £750,000. Now, the only way you're going to get a player in the midfield that is established for that amount is if you're getting only their left leg. Now, obviously, the reason we went for a 17-year-old for that price is because he's a 17-year-old. He's not established yet. In the past, the old regime would try to get the established player that was going to cost us like 100 million. We're actually trying to do something a bit different because this guy, he could easily be the next Caicedo, right? He could go ahead to go to another club, and then when he becomes established, we go in and then pay 100 million for the player. So right now, we're trying to take £750,000 gamble, and in the grand scheme of things, it's really not that bad. The signing actually makes sense. But I think we have to, for this particular signing, we can't just think of it like a youth player. Like this guy, I've seen some of the comps, like you guys saw. I did actually watch the YouTube compilation. You can't judge a player off of YouTube comps, right? It's literally all their best moments compiled into one video. So that does not tell you anything. However, from what I have seen about this guy, he doesn't even look like a 17-year-old right now, and he's going to be 18 soon. So I'm assuming this is somebody that's going to be either understudy or someone who's going to come into play and support Mainu. So this is a calculated gamble. He's a right-footed, purely defensive midfielder. So he's not a creative midfielder. We're not getting him in because of his goals. We're getting him in for more of like his stability. If you notice with Kobbie Mainoo, he's having to do a lot more of the defensive work. To be fair, in a well-rounded team, everyone should be doing some defensive work. So I'm not trying to relieve Kobbie from his defensive work entirely, but we do know he is a player that can actually offer more offensively. However, he cannot because of his mobility and because he's paired with Casemiro. So I'm guessing that bringing this guy in will kind of unlock or give Kobbie some more freedom to advance and be a little bit more offensive with the overall attack. He does join in from time to time, but we're not seeing that same Kobbie from last year. He's been good. He's been slow and steady, just doing the basics, in my opinion, nothing exceptional. But I think with a more mobile midfielder, we might get to see a more offensive Kobbie, and that's exactly what I think this guy brings into the team. Because from watching it, he's fast, he's aggressive, he's very clean with the tackles. He has like a Kante-esque feel. I'm not comparing him to a Kante, okay? Don't start throwing tomatoes at me. I'm not saying all of a sudden this guy is world class, but he seems like the kind of player that actually just enjoys ruining other people's fun, and I love that kind of player. Now, we're not getting the pure chaotic destroyer like Manu Ugarte. I know some of you have PTSD. If I mention that name, is like Lord Voldemort, he who shall not be named. But this isn't what this guy is. From what I've seen, he might not have the same variety of passes like a KDB or Bruno. He's not heavily like pass technique heavy, but one thing he is he's very careful with the ball. He respects the ball, like some managers like to say. He really does. His short passes are very clean, he's very composed on the ball, and his head is always on the swivel. He's almost like a bobblehead, and we love to see that, especially from a midfielder, someone who scans a lot. And I saw all of that from the YouTube comps. Not making a verdict yet, I'm just saying I can understand the gamble, right? It's 750,000 compared to what you could potentially get if he gets better and actually pays off. Even if it doesn't, you can definitely recuperate some of that money, and even if you break even, you're not losing a lot of money. So from that point of view, I do think it makes sense. Apparently, he did captain Colombia's under-17 side and led them to a South American final, so he does have some leadership traits about him. Obviously, we're not getting him for that. We have leaders, we need more leaders, but maybe for his peers, that could be a good addition to the team. From what I can tell, like the managers trust him, because if you're going to let a 17-year-old captain, well, say under 17 side, but if you're going to captain a team, that means your manager, you have the trust of your manager. So I'm assuming on some level he's actually good. Now, Giuseppe Antonaccio, if you don't know who that is kind of like helps with his scouting and everything, but I trusted him enough to personally fly out and get the deal done for Manchester United. You cannot be doing all of that for some bum player. So this could either be a signing that we just don't talk about after a while, but considering the price, the gamble is very, like the risk is very minimum, but then the payout, or potential payout and reward, if he's anything like the YouTube comes and it's just not like a flash in the park here and there, he's actually looking like a good player, okay? say the weight on his passes is phenomenal for his age. He will only get better. Again, he's young. He's only 17. Hopefully he's 17 and not 17, if you get my drift. That's for the African folks. You guys know what I'm talking about. But I think the real problem that he solves is, even since Michael Carrick was a midfielder for us, we've always had a problem with people receiving the ball with their back turned to go like under pressure. And, you know, we want a player who can do that and not panic like a freaking Wi-Fi in a tunnel. You know, a Wi-Fi in a tunnel is basically mythical. You're not going to get Wi-Fi. But point I'm trying to say is someone who's composed and receiving the ball, and he shows all of that. Now, there's one thing doing that in the Colombian league with under 17 and doing it in Premier League. His stature doesn't look as fragile as, say, like a youth player like Kone. So that is promising. And so far, nobody's talking about him, right? So it is technically like a strategic win for Manchester United if we can pull this off. And we're basically trying to get ahead of that whole strategy about, oh, you have a player no one's talking about. Remember, we're linked to Moise Caicedo, we're linked to Erling Haaland. Even before he signed to Dortmund, Solskjaer wanted Haaland at some point when he would have been much cheaper, but we missed all those opportunities because we're going for the more established players and paying ridiculous sums for them. And I think now we're trying to do the opposite, trying to be the guys that pick the low diamond in the rough. So far, Dorgu seems like he's one of them, and we might be lucky again with this guy. Again, I'm being optimistic. I don't know. But with Casemiro going and with a thin squad and the potential games that we're going to be playing next season, it's very important that these kind of transfers make sense, because if you're going to spend 100 M's on, say, an Elliot Anderson or an Ndiaye or whatever it is, you're not going to have enough in terms of PSR to really strengthen the midfield, which is something we desperately need for squad depth. We're playing one game this season and we have a bunch of injuries, and the only reason why we're able to cope is because we're playing one game. If we potentially finish in the top 4 spot, we're playing UCL and as well as other competitions next season. So squad depth will definitely come into play with the amount of games coming like fast. That's where spending this small amount on a potential player could be a good thing. I don't think he goes straight to the U team. I think he goes as an understudy, kind of like a Menu kind of thing. So I want to really think about this, right? I think it's a good sign that Manchester United is prioritizing the future, but I also think it's an indictment on the current squad that we have, because usually a player like this would just come in, would throw him in the youth team and forget about him. But I'm actually talking right now like I'm expecting this guy to potentially start, and that's an indictment on the adults, on the senior players, because Casemiro and Menu, great, they're doing their best, but Casemiro is lacking, right? And he's obviously gone, so it's not even point talking about that. And Menu should not be the one leading the Manchester United team. He's still young. It's happened in our history with how young players do that. But if the management and the previous regime did everything well, we wouldn't be in this mess that we're in right now, where we're forced to be a little bit creative. And I think that's what this is. So with Cristiano Orozco, there might be no fireworks, there might not be no piano intro or whatever. You might not even get to hear about him. Might just go in silent and fly under the radar, which might be a good thing, might help with the pressure and everything. I mean, with 750k, there's not much pressure anyways. But sometimes the smartest transfers are the ones that nobody celebrates until they work. So guys, let me know what you think. Do you think this is a good move by Manchester United? And if you were to go for a player of that profile at that age, someone who's not just like a destroyer with no tech whatsoever, someone that can actually receive the ball, comfortable the ball, can make accurate passes, unlike some guy that we have, Manu Ugarte, who would that be? Like, who would you bring in besides a player like this? Like, who do you think, like, who would you want to come in for like a small price, like a diamond in the rough that you feel like you could roll the dice on and maybe it will pay dividends in the future? Just let me know. It's been The Realistic Red. Thank you so much for watching. Appreciate all of you. Please don't forget to like, subscribe, comment below, hit notification door of that good stuff. Trying to grow the channel. So far we're 12 subscribers away from 500, I believe, something like that. We're very close to 500 subscribers. That will be a big milestone for my channel. Thank you all who are for subscribing and everything, supporting the channel. And I'll come back with more videos and more funny skits and everything. But occasionally I will make videos like this. It's kind of like a mixed bag. I make the jokes sometimes, and I get serious when I talk about my club, because I'm a Man United fan and I'm a general football fan. So there you go. I always find it hard to end the video. Bye. Thank you so much for watching. It's been The Realistic Red. I'll catch you guys next time. Just yappa.